Seller agrees to vacate the property within 10 days following the closing. In the event seller does not vacate the property by the above date, a charge of $50 per day will be assessed and deducted from the escrow amount. Now, of course, the number of days is totally relevant as to your seller's needs, isn't it? Okay? The dollars per day needs to be steep enough to make it worth their while to move. If you put some dumb $5 or $10 a day in there, they just soon stay there. It's cheaper than rent. In the event seller has not vacated the property within 10 days following the agreed upon date, all monies remaining in escrow will be forfeited. You see why it's important you get enough money in escrow. Seller will then be considered a tenant in sufferance, giving buyer full rights to evict. That means the seller is holding the property against your will. You have the right to evict them, and you sometimes will have to do just that. If you have this agreement in your hand, by the way, when you go to court, you're probably going to win, hands down, if you ever get to court. Neat and clean. Do we have to define neat and clean? Neat and clean is defined as all debris to be removed from the interior and exterior of the property. In the event property is not left in a neat and clean condition, buyer will have cleanup completed at seller's expense and deduct from the escrowed amount. And boy, I tell them, I say, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, please clean the place up. You don't even want my crew to do it. They are expensive. Oh, at least. And if they leave and they don't clean it up, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll have somebody clean it up and double the bill and take it out of their escrow account. I got their money, remember? That's the whole problem here. If they take a hike, I want to have enough of their money to pay for what they agreed to do. In fact, I want them to take a hike. So what I'm trying to do is get them out of the house, isn't it? But now if they move out and leave me a mess, I'm going to have it cleaned up and deduct it from the money I'm holding of theirs. This is an agreement that they're signing, giving me permission to do that. Okay? In the event the buyer is forced to institute legal action, that just says if I have to sue them, they'll pay the attorney's fees. Let's read it. This agreement, the seller will be held responsible for and hereby agrees to pay all legal costs and fees and so forth. And then I get them to sign it. Now what if they balk and they don't want to sign this? No, I'm not going to lose a good deal because they won't sign this. I'm going to say, Amy, I understand that, and all I'm saying is here that I'm getting you to do what you agree to do. You do intend to agree what you do, intend to do what you agree to, don't you? Yeah. Okay. Is this going to be a problem? Yeah. Say yes. Yeah. Well, then I'll tell you what we'll do. You tell me when you're out, and then we'll close. Okay? You call me, I'll close when you're ready. Isn't that what I want anyway? But I need money to move. Then we have to do it this way. All I'm saying here is, Amy, that if you do what you say, I'll give you your check back. When you get out of the house and you left it clean, you call me and I'll meet you here and I'll write you a check right on the spot. And truth is, Amy, that I've had problems in the past like that, and I'm just not willing to buy this house unless I know you're going to do what you say, and I'm sure you will. I don't have any reason to doubt you, but I just want us to have a mutual understanding here. So it's one or the other. Either I'll close when they're out, or if they need money to move, I'll close and they'll sign this. It ain't going to be no other way, unless I don't see a problem coming, or I don't really care. House I bought last week, lady's going to live in it for 6 months. On the other hand, what's the worst case scenario? Put her out at Christmas, right. Not above me, isn't it? I buy houses with furniture all the time. In fact, we're getting to that. Let's go on down the contract. Yeah.
Escrow, is that a problem like it is with real estate?
No. I don't have to account nobody for my escrow account. You know where my escrow account is? My own bank account, wherever the rest of the money is. That's my escrow account. I'm not under any rules of anybody here. That's why I want to hold the escrow account. Who's in control? That's exactly right. Next paragraph, personal property. Here's one you ought to know. Included in the purchase price is a fixed equipment, including ceiling fans, draperies, hardwares attached, lighting fixtures, mailboxes, fence, plants, and shrubbery, as now installed on the property, and all of the additional items. Notice let's pull out the one on split funding here. Okay? It says range, refrigerator, washer, dryer, drapes, 2 window air conditioners, WACs or window air conditioners, and lawnmower. Now, let me tell you here. Right here is where you have a chance to get all kind of goodies for free. Okay? When you're sitting in the living room of a seller and you're filling out this contract, you just write on here what you want. Just write it down there, just like you want. Okay? And then we're going to do it like this. Here's how I go about it. I explain this contract to the seller, and I go through, Amy, this means that I'm going to pay you $30,000. I'm giving you $500 now. Of course, I wouldn't be giving her $500, would I? I'm giving you $10 now, and owe you the balance at closing. This says that this identifies the closing cost here. As you can see, I got just about as many check marks as you do. I promise you, my check marks are in the cheaper places, though. It says here that your title is good. And over here it says that we're going to close within 45 days. Down here it addresses occupancy. It says you're living in it now. Put C addendum on that line. All right. And this down here says, Amy, that the range in the refrigerator and the washer and the dryer and the window air conditioners and the lawnmower stays. And then down here it deals with zoning. It says it's a single-family house. And, well, if she hasn't stopped me, I just got all this stuff, didn't I? Didn't I? I'm not going to make an issue out of it. She hasn't stopped me. The stuff goes with the house. Now, you want to stop me on something?
Yeah, what?
This here says the range, refrigerator, washer and dryer, and two window airs and the lawnmower stays.
Why do you need a lawnmower?
Why do I need a lawnmower? Well, got to mow the lawn. You know, I need the lawnmower to make sure that the next tenant or next occupant has a way to mow the lawn, so I don't wear out my lawnmower, and I just assume that it came with a house. Is that a problem? By the way, if she says, why do I need a lawnmower, what if I just obtained? Range, refrigerator, washer, dryer, drapes, and two window airs. So if she wants to worry about the lawnmower, is the lawnmower a problem? You love that lawnmower or something? Do we have a problem with a lawnmower?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. What if she says, I don't want that lawnmower to go? Better yet, what if she wants to argue about the range and refrigerator? Now, I'll almost never buy a house without a range and refrigerator. If she wants to argue about a range and refrigerator, I say, Amy, a range and refrigerator goes with the house. If you don't leave the range and refrigerator, I got to go out and buy one. If I got to buy one, maybe we need to turn it over here and talk about the down payment and the terms here a little bit more, because I just assumed that it came with the house. Are you really that hung up on that range and refrigerator? Besides, think about this, Amy. When you move, do you really want to lug them big old things around?
No.
So they're really not that important to you?
I guess not, then.
Okay, good. Next paragraph here says that the house is owned single-family houses. And that's about it. Down here deals with all the realtor stuff. Doesn't even apply to us. This here says that you got my $10. Any questions?
You're press hard.
The minute I say any questions, I'm going to let her go over. She ain't going to read a word of this thing. She ain't going to know what she's reading if she does read it. And I'm going to let her go over until she says, no questions. And then I'm going to let her sign it. That's the way I explain the contract. Now, whatever she balks about, I may be very willing to give it to her, huh? Right? Or I may not. You have no idea how much junk I've accumulated by just filling out that line. Why don't you go over there and inspect it the day that after they're out of it? Remember, you're not closing until they're out. Okay? Then could they come back in and steal it? On the other hand, it's free anyway. What are you losing? I'd say that the chances of them doing that after they've already moved out and agreed not to do it and put it in writing here are slim. But if that happens, what's the big deal? What's the problem? It's free anyway. They will. I'll change them. Right. So they won't be able to get back in. But truth is, I'm not going to. If I do a closing, I don't even go over and inspect it the day of closing anyway. I don't. I shouldn't you? But I just don't, because I don't care. They take it. They take it. They don't. But rarely will you find that a problem. See, if I get her to agree to leave it now, it's really not going to be a problem. That's exactly right. And boy, when they're moving out of state, you can usually wind up with a whole house full of furniture. Amy, I can just take care of all your furniture problem if you want to. Or do you intend to move all this stuff all the way across the country?
No,
Huh? You don't want to? I don't blame you. Well, that looks like a lot of work. If you want to, I'll tell you what, I'll just make you a deal right now. Just buy the whole house if you like. The whole house full of furniture. You just leave it right where it is, pick up personal stuff and go. Now, if she's got some nice furniture in there, she ain't about to give it to me, is she? But will she sell it to me dirt cheap? What do you think this whole house full of furniture would be worth if I were to buy it all? And you didn't have to sit here and piecemeal it and have yard sales and do all that stuff, and you could just pick up and leave. Give me a number.
500.
Oh, 500? I think I can live with that. I'm not even going to try to bargain her on that one, am I? Probably. Unless you got a house full of crap. But many times they'll come back and say, 5,000. And I'll say, 5,000? What's your second choice? I say, Amy, I'm not going to pay $5,000 for a house full of furniture I probably couldn't sell for more than 2. Do you want to leave it or do you want to take it? You know, I'm in the furniture. If I'm going to buy this furniture from you here, I'm going to get a package deal. I'm not going to pay no $5,000 for it. So what's the least you would take for it? I said I could sell it for 2, Amy. If I can sell it for 2, obviously I need to buy it cheaper. See, I may or may not wind up with it for $19.95. Okay. Folks, I'm telling you, many times they'll virtually give it to you if you just ask for it. Because you're doing them a favor, really, if they don't want to haul it, and you are giving them money down anyway. They just soon not. Many times they're moving into apartments, and they want it anyway. Many times they're moving in with relatives. They don't need it, and they'd have to store it if they did take it. And sometimes you can buy it dirt cheap. What do you do if you buy a whole house full of furniture? That is after your wife gets through with it. What do? You have a sale. Have a yard sale right on the premises. And then have a furniture store come pick up the rest of it and give you whatever they'll give you. You pick out all the goodies. And half stuff in my house came from somebody else's house.
Save them renting trailer.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a quick question.
All right.
Say they're still living in it for a period of 10 days, but you want to show a contractor or maybe even wholesale a house. How do you write that on there?
You're not going to wholesale a house that I'm buying from an owner-occupant that I'm taking over a loan, ta-da-ta-da-ta-da. If I'm wholesaling the house, it's probably ugly as sin and she ain't living in it to begin with. If they are, sometimes you will find a house that they are living in that is ugly, won't you? If that's the case, I'll just tell them I need to show this to contractors and potential occupants and get their permission, or I'll just have them show it.
Would you put it in here? Under additional terms, conditions?
When I'm dealing with an individual directly, I'm not near as concerned about putting something in here as I am when I'm dealing with banks. I'll just ask if Amy is okay if I send people over there. If she says yes, I want to put as little in here as possible. And besides, if I know I'm going to buy it pretty soon anyway, it's really not that important to me, is it? If she don't want to show it, then I'll just wait till she's out before I start showing it. And I'll say, I want to send somebody to the outside. I'll send them to the outside and say, look at the outside. And if you like that, then I'll get you inside if you're interested. If you're concerned about me selling it before I have to buy it, then they got to see it. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be rare when I'm going to go out and do an owner-occupied deal that I got to sell before I buy, and it's going to be a junker. You're going to find more owner financing type deals or assumption deals when you're dealing with FSBOs face-to-face that are occupied than you are junkers that they're living in. I mean, this got to be in pretty bad shape for me to buy it at my price normally. Usually when it's in that bad shape, they're not living in it. However, well, I've seen people living in houses that you wouldn't think that any human being would live in. I've had houses with the junk piled up so high, I swear to you, you couldn't get into one room without crawling over the crap. Literally have to get up on the pile of garbage and crawl from one room to the other to see the rest of the house. You run all kind of, those are the kind of houses, though, you can steal, aren't they? When you're painting a wall, does it make any difference whether it's extremely nasty or just mildly nasty? Huh? Does it cost any more painting? When you carpet on the floor, when you tear it up and you take it out, does it make any difference whether it's extremely ugly or just stained? Doesn't make a bit of difference. The repairs are the same. When you're replacing a roof, it doesn't make any difference whether the shingles are all blowed off or none of them are blowed off. It costs the same to fix it.
What about the trusses? Is that expensive to fix?
If they're rotten, what are trusses made out of? Wood. That'd be about a 1x8 in the neighborhood of 12 to 16 feet long. Wouldn't it?
Right.
You pop one out and you pop another one in. Nail alongside of it sometimes. What do you do if you can't get on the inside of it? What is over the trusses? Plywood. How's it attached? It's nailed down, isn't it? Takes a wrecking bar to pop it up, doesn't it? You pop it up, you replace it, and you pop it back down. How do you fix joists underneath houses? You crawl in there, lay on your back, and take them out and replace them, right? Oh, idiots do. You pop up the floor and you stand on the ground. You pop the old board out, put a new one in, put the plywood back. And then what do you cover the plywood with? Carpet. That's it. That's it. It's no big deal. Like I said, wherever there's wood, it's not expensive to fix it. Looks expensive, though. How do you jack up a house? Same way you jack up your car.
Only a bigger jack.
You put a jack under there, and this is a screw jack instead of a crank jack. You screw the house up, put blocks under it, let it down on the blocks. Sometimes they just leave the jacks under there, don't they? That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. They go around, they put jacks in the low places, and they jack them up till it's level. They put a level on the floor, and they jack it up till it says stop. They either leave the jacks in, or they put blocks in and take the jacks out. Ain't no harder to jack up a house than it is your car. But man, it sure looks like a job. And if they break the plumbing loose, then they have to fix it, of course. And if the sheetrock inside cracks, normally it's going to be fixed anyway, if there is any. No big deal to jack up a house. I've had guys jack up houses in an hour. Be gone. Done. Ray had that whole house he was telling you about. Totally lifted. 8 inches off the ground. Total price, $800. They just lifted it up and put concrete blocks under it. When you learn those repairs, when you learn what it really costs, you learn it's not really near as expensive as you think. Let's stay on contracts here till we get it done because we're close. Paragraph 16, zoning. If you're buying a single-family house, you better darn sure make it... I'm more concerned about you buying a multi-family and thinking it's a multi. I bought a fourplex one time. Rehabbed it. 4 two-bedroom apartments. Big monster. Bought it cheap. Bought it condemned, though. Rehabbed it. Got the city out there to inspect it. They said, this is a pretty job you did. It's going to make somebody a lovely single-family house. So what are you talking about? I got 4 electric meters. I got 8 bedrooms. I got 4 kitchens and 4 baths. He said, yes, please remove 3 kitchens. Because this is a single-family house. I said, why? He said, because when it got condemned, it got downzoned, and it'll never go back to anything but a single-family house. Seminar. I sold it for about what I had in it. Boy, I tell you what, it made somebody a big single-family house. And a big family moved in it, too. It was huge. 4 two-bedroom apartments, if you can imagine that being a single-family house. Back in 1985, I bought a 16-unit concrete block, 2 8-units side by side. It was all Section 8 then, and I went over there and rehabbed it, and I sold it. I bought that building for $160,000 and sold it for $3 1/4. Spent a lot of money rehabbing it, though. Only made about $50,000 on that building. 6 months in and 6 months to get rid of it. And I'm telling you what, I got more gray hair in that 6 months than I had the whole previous term of my life. 16 single Section 8 tenants with kids in the same building, side by side. It was constant warfare. I mean, they had knock-down, drag-out fights over there. And anyway, I sold that to a guy who was looking for tax write-off. He paid $325,000 for that building. That was 1986. In 1993, I had a chance to buy that building back, totally vandalized and condemned. I had it under contract from, I think, RTC for $16,000. I said, boy, this is good. And this is 2 concrete block buildings now that I had totally replaced the roofs on when I owned them. And I went over there checking. It was zoned single-family house. Heartbreak. 2 8-units side by side, single-family house. So basically, it's bulldozer time. By the way, I had a fire in one of those units, one of those little apartments. Kids set the mattress on fire, gutted the apartment. It paid me $32,000. Cost me $12,000 to fix it. I love fires. I used to leave matches laying around. I don't want no kids to get hurt in them. But I'm telling you, when somebody calls you up and says your house is on fire, say, oh, thank you. Because I better not get off on that one. Jeez, I'll be getting letters from the insurance commission here before it's over. But I didn't start the dumb fire. It wasn't my fault. However, they grilled me like it was my fault. They were sure I started that fire. In fact, I thought they was going to put me in a polygraph. I'm not kidding. I thought I had a problem there, and I didn't have nothing to do with the fire, believe me. That's one thing I haven't done to date, is set fires. But there's a lot of them I wish would get set one way or the other, I'll tell you. Incidentally, if any of you do have a problem, you have an insurance claim like that, let me make you a suggestion. Hire a professional insurance negotiator to settle your claim. Insurance companies will pay you a heck of a lot more than you think they will. And they ain't going to let you know, and they ain't going to tell you, there's a lot of things you don't know about insurance claims, a lot of what they will pay and what they're required to pay. And you need somebody on your team if you're doing this. Right, Chuck? Is that right, Carol? You do insurance claims? Carol? Thinking? Well, I've had 3 insurance claims of fires in the past, and every one of them I made serious money on, and every one of them I was smart enough to get somebody to fight my battle for me, and as I remember, every one of them I got 50% more out of it than I thought I would.
How do you find these?
Oh, they're in your phone book. In fact, they'll find you. You have a fire, they'll call you. They're ambulance chasers. But they earn, no, not attorneys.
Not attorneys, right.
They deal with claims. They're professional. I don't know what they call themselves. Oh, they more than pay for themselves. They get a percentage, I think. But believe me, they'll raise your claim more than their percentage. All right. We got down to that. Paragraph 18 is for any addendums or any clauses you want to put in the contract. If you've got an addendum, you put C addendum in paragraph 18. And the rest of it is just signature blocks down here and places for commission if there's commission involved. However, down here below the signature lines, it calls for whoever receives the earnest money deposit to sign and say they got the earnest money deposit. Basically, this is a receipt that they received your deposit. You should get the seller to sign that. If you're sitting in the house, get them to sign that so that they've agreed that they've got your deposit, so they can't come back and say you didn't give them a deposit, so this contract is null and void. If you're selling a house, your lender is going to want that signed, or they're not going to process a loan until you sign that saying you got the deposit. If you're selling at retail. Okay, any questions on them contracts? Always give a deposit to a seller. If I'm sitting in Amy's living room, it's $10. But I still want her to sign it. $500 is if I'm going through a realtor. And then, or $100, $500, and sometimes more. Okay? I still want the seller to sign that they got the deposit. Yes. Or the realtor to sign. In that case, the realtor will sign they got the deposit. Yes.
Take the property, subject to, and the loan stays in the
Seller's name. That's right.
seller dies. Does that send up a red flag?
No. To who? To who? If you're making payments to the mortgage company, they could care less. Every once in a while, one of them will get a hair up their butt. No. Of all the properties that I've bought and taken loan subjects to, I've only had one instance where a Fannie Mae lender thought they wanted to call the loan due. And they call me up and they say, Mr. LeGrand, we understand you've bought the property. I said, that's correct. I don't hide it from them. In fact, I just love challenging them. Because I know my rights, you see. They don't bluff me. They're great at bluffing you. And that's what they attempted to do. I said, that's right, I bought it. And they said, well, we need you to come down and assume the loan. I said, no, thank you. I said, I didn't agree to assume the loan, and I'm not going to come down and assume it. I'll continue making payments on it, but I'm not going to come down and personally qualify and assume the loan. And they say, well, we'll have to call the loan due. I said, well, you sure that's what you want to do? I've just said that I've agreed to make the payments, and I'll be glad to do that. You'll give me the address to where I should send them, or you can call the loan due if that's what you want to do. And they say, well, we'll have to call it due. I'll check with my attorney, and we'll have to call it due. I said, okay, well, let me know. And about a week later, they called me back and said, yeah, we're going to have to call the loan due unless you come down and agree and assume it. And I said, well, okay. I said, it looks to me like we've got two choices here. I can either send you the payments and you can receive them, or you can call the loan due and own the property. And the truth is, I just do not make you the payments anyway. So if you don't want them, be sure and let me know. And they say, well, bank rules are we have to call loan due. I said, okay, go ahead. Let me know if you change your mind. They filed foreclosure. Now, of course, they're not coming after me personally, are they? I didn't sign no note to anybody. I don't own the property. My trust owns the property. My name's not even in the foreclosure suit, right? They filed foreclosure. And I get these foreclosure papers. About 2 months later, they contact me and they say, Mr. LeGrand, we're in foreclosure. Will you come down and assume the loan? I said, no. I said, a couple of months ago, I gave you a choice. I said, I'll either make the payments and keep them current, or you can foreclose on the property and own the house. And it looks to me like you made your choice. However, that offer still stands. If you want me to make the payments current, I'll be glad to do it. However, if it goes another month, I probably won't want to be glad to do it. And by the way, I can't guarantee you what kind of condition this house is going to be in when you get it back. 3 days later, I got a notice that they stopped the foreclosure process if I'll come down and make the payments current. And I did. And they stopped the foreclosure process. And they even ate their own attorney's fees.
Why did you have to go down there?
I didn't. They just sent me an agreement, I signed it and sent the payments with it, and they stopped. I said, I'll make these payments on condition that you stop the foreclosure. And they did. If they give me an agreement, they have to live by that agreement, or I really got them. And they stopped foreclosure. And I made payments on that house for about 2 years before I sold it. Had a tenant in it and so forth. That's the only time. And I called their bluff and they lost. Because I knew they would lose. You see, there was no way they could win. Because I didn't have anything to lose. And when you put yourself in a position to where you don't have anything to lose, I'm telling you folks, it's hard to lose. Many times they've called me and bluffed me, but quickly backed down when they found out that I wasn't some dumb schmuck that they were going to dictate to. So don't worry about doing sale clauses. However, if you went down and originated your note personally, are you in a different leveraged position? Huh? Yes. If you originated a note personally and they want to get nasty with you, you got more at risk because they will be suing you personally and coming after the property as well if they want to do that. More reason not to go down and bank and borrow money. On the other hand, the quicker you figure out that if you don't own anything, they can't get anything, the less that's going to matter to you. Assignment of contract. It's in your book. Very simple. Don't even have to go. If you're going to sign a contract, that's probably the form you want to use. I think anybody can read that and understand it. Behind that, however, is the almighty affidavit, memorandum of purchase and sale. That one you definitely got to understand, because that is the most important weapon in your book there. If I get a contract with Amy on her house here, I'm going to go home and probably fill out this affidavit and go down to the courthouse and record it. Affidavit says, Amy and I have a contract. Of course, if I get this contract with Amy, I got to get it with Dave too, don't I?
You're
Huh?
probably married.
If you're married. If you're married, yeah. If you're married, if they both own the house, I'll know it because I'll see some kind of evidence that there's the deed or mortgage or something with both their names on it. That I need to get the contract signed by both of them now. Now I'll go down and I'll record this affidavit. Now they won't even know that I'm doing this. Basically it says that I got a contract with them. Their legal description is at the bottom of the page. I'll fill it in. I'll sign the agreement. It says that we have a contract dated today. It also says that the closing will be on whatever day the closing will be. And then it says that a copy of the contract will be can be had by calling Ron LeGrand at my address with my phone number right on the affidavit. The world can contact me very easily if they want me. The legal of her property is at the bottom. I will sign it as the affiant. I am holding up my hand and I'm swearing that I have a contract with Amy. That's all I'm doing here, swearing that I have a contract. I will get it notarized and witnessed. Well, what are they witnessing and what are they notarizing? My signature, not Amy's. Amy doesn't even know I'm doing this. And Amy never will know, as long as she's willing to abide by her contract. Because if she does what she said she was going to do, I'll never have an occasion to tell her. However, if Amy gets some investor to come along and give her a better offer after she signed a contract with me, and she decides she wants to sneak around behind my back and sell to that investor, when will she find out about this affidavit? When the title company for that investor goes and checks the title, they'll find this, and they will be calling me to find out what's up, because my phone number is right here on public record. And what will that do to Amy's sale? It'll kill it dead in its tracks. At which time I will now get Amy's attention, won't I?
What if the title company doesn't find it?
If they don't find it, you're SOL. You lose. Could you sue the title company? Yeah. Will you? No. Could you sue Amy? No, you could, but you won't. It ain't worth it. Go find some more money. Go find some more. Instead of crying over spilled milk, go milk another cow. Yes, Diane. Do I have to disclose what? I ain't got nothing to do with this. You have to disclose that on your contract, your purchase and sale agreement. No, this just says that you do you feel like doing that on this one? You can, but I don't think I'd want to. Where does Amy sign? Point it out to me.
Sure, why not?
You're the buyer. You're the affiant.
Then when they call you, say, "You haven't got to contact my file, I'll bring it in and sue it."
Well, perhaps. I can't think of anybody who would call me that I'd trot down and bring them show them my contract.
If you're going to buy this in a trust, you still use your name on this?
Yes. What do you use? Whatever name the contract's in. Yes. You see it? Ain't that just neater than peanut butter? Huh? The seller does not even see. I used to have a memorandum of contract, which I get the seller to sign, but then they wonder what the heck I'm doing here and cause problems. This, the seller don't know about it, and they do what they say. They'll never know about it, and I don't have a problem. And this is just as strong, by the way, as a memorandum of contract. It'll stop the deal cold in its tracks if the title company picks it up when they check the title.
How do I know this?
How do I know this?
Is this as good as a memorandum of option?
This is better than a memorandum of option. Yes. Yep. Yep. And sometimes they'll give you a hard time, sometimes they won't. They cannot stop you from recording this public document if it's properly executed. Some areas they don't like for you to, but they. So far, I've never had a case. I've had a case where they refused to do it, but so far I've never had a case where they ultimately didn't do it. You just go and get the boss, and then you make them explain to you what law says I can't record this document that is properly executed to go on public record. You have a problem with that in Tampa? Anybody done in Tampa? You have a problem with that in Orlando, Chuck?
Yeah, some of the counties we have had, what we did on some of them was change, we use a similar document, but instead of for purchase and sale, we just used the affidavit and memorandum of agreement concerning real property. And
that's a good idea. Well, good. That's good to know. So change the title. In fact, it could say just affidavit and memorandum of agreement. Couldn't it? Look at the first line. An agreement for purchase and sale of real property described herein. Okay? Doesn't matter what the title says, does it? In fact, you can do it without a title if you wanted to, probably. Nothing's going to stop me from getting recorded if I want to record it. They're going to have to show me the law in the law book that says I can't record it.
How did he say change the title?
I don't know. What did you say? Affidavit and memorandum of agreement concerning real property. That's good.
I didn't understand about the name if you're buying it in a trust and you have a trustee.
I haven't bought it yet. Trustee has nothing to do with it. Don't put your trustee's name on here. Whatever name is on your contract, put that on here. I usually put my name on my contract. I put my name on it. Or sometimes my corporate name, but I don't ever put if you've got a different trustee other than yourself, for gosh sakes, don't put their name on the contract as buyer. No, if there's any litigation, they get sued. Use your name on the contract, and then if you're going to have a different trustee, you have that trust created at closing and let that trustee then come in play. Besides, you can't sign for somebody else on your contract. You're going to create a mess if you do that. Only when you are the trustee do you put as trustee on your name on your contract. Then how do I put it in the trust? I haven't had any problem with that, whether I'm trustee or not. I have the right to put a property in a trust. Now, of course, some closing agents don't know that, but I have the right to put property in a trust. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you're buying properties from some government agents, they will not close in any way other than the name that's on the contract as buyer. You need to know that. If you're making an offer for from HUD to HUD, whatever's on that contract, how you're going to close. Period. So what I've done to solve that problem is that I use my corporate name on the contract, and I'll physically close in my corporate name if I have to. But there's rare cases where you can't tell the seller who you want to put in there as the grantee.
So if if you don't use a corporation and you want to do a trust?
The answer to your question is put whatever you want on the contract and tell the closing agent how you want it to close when it's time to close. Period.
So Ron,
Yes.
this is going to throw a flag up to the title people that are going to search on
What's going to throw it? Oh, this? When they find this? Oh, this is better than a flag. This is a bag over their head.
Exhibit A, description of real property, with the address and the legal description.
Sure, you can do that.
You have to have a legal.
If you don't have the legal on here, you've accomplished nothing. They do searches by legal.
Okay, that's what I want to
Yeah, got to have the legal. You leave the legal off of there and you've done nothing. You've accomplished absolutely nothing.
The address won't be restricted.
No. Public records are indexed by legals. Yes.
After you close, is it necessary to remove this or?
No. After you close, you don't do anything until somebody wants you to do it. Suppose that you are going to allow your seller to back out of the deal for some reason or another, and sometimes that'll happen. You just sign whatever they want you to sign. Usually that's going to be a quitclaim deed. Most of the time when I record this, I don't do anything to counteract it. I just close. And they don't ask me to. Sometimes, however, they want me to sign a quitclaim deed, which I'll do. On the other hand, who determines whether they're going to sign it or not? You. Who's in control? You. Who decides whether you want to let them out or not? You. Could this be a weapon in the hands of an unscrupulous real estate entrepreneur? Yes. Couldn't you go out and get contracts signed and then back out of them and record this thing and still be in control? Yes. How do you think I found this?
Some attorney did it to you.
Some sleazebag disbarred attorney used this on me. After I bought the house, he didn't have any right in the world. I didn't have anything to do with him, never even met him. And he knew I closed on the house before he even recorded this because he had a contract with a previous seller, which had long since expired. I knew of the contract, but I knew it was expired. So I goes and buys the house, then he records this. Now would my title insurance company pick it up? Of course not. It didn't exist when I bought the house. He recorded it after I bought it. So I get the house repaired and I get ready to sell it. And guess what they find? This. Guess who lost control that day? Me. I'm getting ready to sell this house and now I got to deal with this bum. I hire an attorney because he wouldn't even talk to me. He didn't want to talk to me. He knew it was me, see. He did this on purpose because he knew I was going to have to deal with him. And I think he just wanted to teach this smart guru a lesson. Of course, at that time I wasn't a guru. But I had a reputation for being a real doer, you know. He certainly taught me a lesson. Anyway, I hired an attorney to sue him. We got him to court. And the judge looked at his old contract and said it's not a frivolous lawsuit. He's got a right to sue. We got to go have a hearing on it. And my attorney looked at the judge and says, Your Honor, how long do you think that will take? The judge says about 8 months. Now, I'm sitting here with a buyer ready to buy this house that I got money invested in to repair and sell. And I got to wait 8 months to go to trial. Do you think he knew that? Okay. So I looked at my attorney and I says, what's plan 2? He says, we'll go negotiate. So my attorney went outside and negotiated with him, come back and said he wants $1,500 to relinquish this right now and kill this case. I said, you mean this scumbag knew he's going to lose? Now, when he got to the trial, would he have definitely lost the case? Certainly.
Or probably.
You mean tell me I got to pay him $1,500 when I know I'm right, when I did nothing wrong? I said, what are my choices? He says, well, we can go to trial. 8 months later, and I'll need a $5,000 retainer right now. I said, well, that plan sucks. So, in other words, if I write him a check for $1,500 now, by the way, how much is your attorney's fees up to date? He said $2,000. I said, well, it's going to cost me $3,500 to get out of this any way I do it, isn't it? He says, that's right, but that's the cheapest way. So I had to rule with my head, not my heart that day. And I'm telling you, I can't remember it ever being madder. And I was furious as I was writing out that check to that man. That's my cholesterol went way up that day. I was writing out that check, but I had to do it. I didn't have any choice, did I? And I'll tell you one thing, I learned a lesson that day that was worth far more than that $3,500. And that's how to take control and make sure that it doesn't... I can't stop that from happening to me, but I can darn sure make it happen to somebody else who wants to back out of a deal. Anyway, I found out this attorney done this 7 times prior. Didn't close on any of them. Just used that affidavit and settled with all of them.
Did you ever get him back?
No, I will get him back someday. I will get him back. As far as I know, he's still doing it. He's disbarred now. They disbarred him. He wasn't an attorney, really. He's a real estate investor.
That's what he's doing.
I will get him back. That's right. See, he can go file his own lawsuit. He don't even need to hire an attorney. He knew what to do. In order to get it notarized, what do you need to do? You sit in front of a notary and say, I'm signing this. Notarize it. No! My notary is notarizing my signature, isn't he? By the way, should all of you be notaries? Yes. Should your relatives and friends and close associates be notaries? Yes. All you got to do to be a notary is tell your insurance company you want to be a notary. You'll fill out the form, send in the fee, and you're a notary. That's it. That's all there is to it. I have 3 notaries in my office. Yeah, your insurance company will get you the paperwork to be a notary. It don't require a bond in most states. Authorization to release. If I'm going into a house and I'm going to take over a loan, whether I'm taking it subject to or I'm going to assume it, you must get this signed. If you don't get the seller to give you permission to get information concerning their loan, you won't get information concerning their loan. I want their signature and I want their social on it. This is a blank authorization, basically gives you permission to get any kind of information on them, even a credit report. Don't forget to get this, or you'll have to go back and get it. Yes. This is only if there's a loan involved. Now, if you're buying a house for cash, you don't need this.
You can't notarize your own document.
No, you can't notarize your own document, and neither can your family notarize your own document. Unless they have a different last name. Except Pennsylvania.
Related anyway.
You can't notarize your own document. In fact, I believe, I'm not sure, I don't know if that's illegal or just against the rules. Probably illegal. In fact, yeah, somebody could sue you and have a case against you if they have damages and you notarize your own document. I don't want you to get in all that crap. But you can have even your partner can legally notarize your document. That about does it for contracts.